Welcome to the penultimate episode of the Hoof and Fang podcast in its current form. I'm Kurt Graves.
I'm Maz Maddox.
How the hell are you?
This is so crazy. I'm good. I don't think it registered to me that this is second to the last of this iteration of Hoof and Fang. Like I just did my notes and was like, boop, boop, just continued on the day. So I'm like, yeah, wow, we have one more before everything changes. It's so crazy.
I know, right? So, hope you made it a good one.
Nothing like a little pressure.
Nothing like pressure. It's just, it's always helpful.
Yeah.
It never backfires.
No, not at all.
It's great. Yeah. We should all be applying more pressure to ourselves and those around us.
Absolutely. Why not? That's how you get diamonds, right?
Right,
or
exactly.
Crippling anxiety, one of the two. Or both.
That eventually leads to diamonds. So.
Right. Exactly. It's part of the process.
How was your week and weekend since last I spoke with you?
It's good. Did we talk? We talked last time. I told you I went to Texas, right? So we discussed that already? Okay. Mm-hmm. So we did that. And then this past weekend, we actually went to the library and got library cards.
Yay.
Yeah. So it's been awesome. Our library that we have here is so cool and has I think I've gushed about it before, but they've got like a podcast set up. They've got 3D printers you can use. There's like these cool little bags that you can rent that teaches you things. So like if you want to learn how to sew or cook or whatever, you can rent a bag that has everything you need at like a beginner level to do stuff, which is super cool. But me and Alex just hung out and rented some cool books that we were, have a passing interest. So I'm currently reading The Final Girl Support Group, which is pretty cute so far. I'm about halfway through. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's great. I'm glad we finally I was like, let's just go. We had an afternoon off and we just had made a day of it and it was really fun. So that was probably the highlight. I actually was able to get my shit together enough to write enough to put out a newsletter finally.
I saw that today.
Small victory.
Yes.
I was able to get that out and I'm very proud of myself. So the ball's rolling a little bit better now on that story.
Snaps.
So excited. Mm-hmm. I think those are the big highlights. It's library and I did a newsletter. So I'm like, yay, I'm doing it. I'm an author again.
Yay. Yay.
How about you? How's your week going?
We had a crazy weekend.
Yeah.
So we had some storms come through Wisconsin this weekend.
Okay.
And we were at a musical. There's a local production that happens every summer where basically all of the kids from all of the high schools can audition for it. So it kind of becomes the all-stars of all of these high school programs come together and put on a musical. So it's usually very impressive. The talent is always great. Yeah. And so we're watching this show and we can hear in the auditorium just how hard the rain is coming down outside. But we're watching the show. It's no big deal. Right. The intermission, it's like, wow, it's really coming down out there, but it's supposed to stop by the time the show's done. So we'll be okay. And then we go back inside and we're like a good chunk of the way through Act 2 and my phone starts ringing and it's like, it's one of those things where there was a really heavy storm. Mm-hmm. The dogs are home alone. I'm sure they didn't love that. Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to check on my watch who it is that's calling. And it's our neighbor.
Oh,
it's
no.
It's like, so I let it go to voicemail and then I did the thing where I could read the transcript of the voicemail on my watch. Yeah. And sure enough, he's like, we had some storm damage. Wires are down. Don't let the dogs outside. And it was like, okay. I was like, well, so then it was like, okay, finish the show. And then as soon as it was sort of ending, I looked to John and I was like, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta 100%.
Go. So we rushed home. Dogs were fine, but
that's good.
Our neighbor's tree, a huge chunk of it, had fallen down and had taken out the lines. So the way the power works in our neighborhood is there's the main power lines, and then they go to power lines behind our houses, and then from behind our houses it goes into our house. Our power lines are suspended. They don't do that anymore, but our house is old, so our power lines are up high. And more than once, we've had our tree drop branches and like bring down our power line.
Yeah.
This time it was our neighbor's tree that brought down all of the power lines in the back.
Sucks.
Destroyed his fence because it's a big piece of his tree came down.
Yeah. No.
And of course tore our conduit off of our house again. This is like the third or fourth time this has happened. Because of falling things just tearing this out of our house.
Yeah.
And so it was but also down the street, somebody's whole tree had like come out from the roots and had fallen on power lines there. So we had to wait for them to restore power first to the neighborhood and then get their equipment into our backyards to fix the ones that go into our house.
Oh, damn.
But they can't do that for us because the power company can't put that thing back on our house. All they can do is disconnect the power so that an electrician can come and put the conduit back on our house. And then they can come back and reconnect our power.
Yeah. I remember this happening to you before where you had to set up an appointment for that and then wait for the city to come back.
It usually happens in winter when the tree branches get full of ice and get very heavy and then they come down. This is a summer storm sort of thing. But it was just one of those things where it's like, they were telling us like the neighborhood probably won't have power until the next day. And even then you're going to start the process of fixing it for your own house. So we knew it was going to be a trial. So we ended up camping out at the office.
Oh, wow.
Because we didn't have AC or power or internet or anything to do at the house. And it's like, well, we have the office. Let's go there. So we camped out. I think I had more fun with it than John did. John was just stressed out the whole time. I was like, this is neat.
Yeah,
we're all here. We're all together. We're camping out in the office. It's fine.
Yeah, it sounds fun to me. But I could also see how it could be frustrating. But I don't know. You lean into situations like that.
I was like, as soon as I got there, I was like, yeah, we're not sleeping in our house tonight. Well, because the other thing too is I have the CPAP machine. So if I don't have power, I don't sleep. So whether John wanted to join me or not, within 10 minutes of being home, I was like, I'm not sleeping here tonight. There's there's no chance we're getting power back today. There's just no chance. And so I think I just processed it much more quickly and was like, yeah, I'm ready to go to the office. Let's go. There's nothing more for us to do here. Let's go. But then of course, not only did it, we got our power reconnected, but then it short circuited our, air conditioning, which we had just had serviced on Friday.
Of course.
We just had it serviced Friday. But fortunately, that meant we didn't get a service charge on Sunday when we had them come out and replace the capacitor or the condenser or whatever it was to fix the AC, which was great. Except there's this thing about our air conditioner where two wires that are one way on most other machines are the opposite on our machine. And the guy did it wrong, which meant they had to come back on Monday, yesterday. And I was at home for part of the afternoon just to get this. So it's from Saturday to yesterday afternoon, something was wrong at some point in time. And we're waiting around for service people to come and help us out. So that was the weekend.
Yeah, that's a lot. So is everything back to normal and full functioning at this point?
Yes, as of yesterday at 2 p.m. Okay, everything appears to be functioning. We're good to go. Yeah, but yeah, it was an interesting weekend. In the midst of all of that, I have been taking notes that I got from you and from some other people I shared my stories with, and I've been editing, so that I can be ready to launch that in a couple weeks. And I've been building the Patreon and getting that set, and kind of having to decide what the heck am I going to call this thing, or how am I going to brand it? So
yeah, that's interesting. Do you have any idea or anything ideas you've been kicking around, or is it still kind of in the early process?
I wouldn't want to say anything now because I don't want to commit to anything because I might go in a totally different direction. But mostly it's from a 10,000 foot level. It's sort of how much do I want to lean into the MM romance trope versus making it more me. So it's what will appeal to more people? What will more effectively communicate what this is, especially when like we've had conversations on this podcast about like how some of this romance material like all looks the same, and it's like, well, now that it's my turn, do I just lean into it and be a total hypocrite? Maybe.
Maybe,
because I want to communicate what this is to people, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a reason that you see so much of it, is because that's what people are trained to know what that means. So some of it is, you know, can be overdone and tropey or whatever, but also that's the audience. So, and I like, we're part of the audience. So like, you know, we're not being shits about it. It's just, that's marketing. That's how it works. So yeah, it's either we lean into it and it's just full, just Kirt read romance, the pod or the Patreon, or you go just, you know, just something totally different. So either one I think would work.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on outside of just like normal work stuff. So, So what else we got going on? We're still doing Animorphs. We have 2 more episodes, 2 more weeks of the podcast, 2 more episodes of Animorphs for people to enjoy. So you can check those out over on our Patreon, Hoof and Fang. Reactions are coming out every Thursday. And as we mentioned last week, all of that Animorphs content will stay with that Patreon. So if that's what you're here for, if that's what stay. Feel free to continue to enjoy that content if that's what you're there for. But otherwise, 100%. Once again, we are encouraging you to switch to the free level of our Patreon. So you're no longer paying for content we are no longer making. Please and thank you. Feel free to support us in places where we are making content.
Yes, agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So that's all the housekeeping stuff. What are we talking about this week?
So I recently joined a book club in my local bookstore, and it's a horror book club. So we read just mostly spooky books. But this last one that I tore through in a matter of days was called Overgrowth by Mira Grant. And I was delighted by all of the amazing queer themes through this book, because I went into it totally blind. I knew it had aliens. I knew it had something to do with plants because of just what it looks like, which I have. And it's like, if you're listening to this, it's like you see Earth from far away, but then there's these like creepy little vines. They're like crawling up through the title of the book, like reaching towards Earth. So it's like a plant alien invasion thing. Think of like, I'm going to be spoiling the shit out of this book. So if you want to read it, you might want to skip the episode. But
great. Skip our second to last episode, guys.
Or like go read it and come back so you know what I'm talking about. But it's kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers from the aliens' point of view. Like, it's really interesting. So kind of in a nutshell, it starts off with this little girl who runs into the woods, and she's like 5, and she gets lost in the woods, and she finds this plant that smells like cookies and sunshine and awesome, right? And so she goes over to the plant, and the plant grabs her and like eats her, basically, just swallows her whole, feed me Seymour style, like, right? So
I'm so proud of you for knowing that reference.
Yeah, me and Alex actually watched that a year and a half ago for the first time. What a delightful fucking movie. I mean, obviously we watched the movie and not the stage production of it, but yeah, it was great. Loved it.
For the uninitiated, she's referring to Little Shop of Horrors, which is a stage musical and also a movie musical from the, I want to say, 80s?
I think it was 80s, yeah. Like early to mid 80s, I think. Yeah. It's a gem. So, so this little girl gets spit back out, and she's like a replicant. Like, she's a carbon copy of this little girl, but she knows she's an alien. So she like runs back home to her mom and tells her mom, like, hey, I'm not your daughter. I'm actually an alien. Her mom's like, oh, you, right? Because she's just so happy she showed back up.
5-year-old.
Right. Yeah. So it goes through this whole journey of the main character. Her name is Anastasia, but I think she just goes by Stasia, I guess. Okay. Which I read
a thing that authors love to do that pisses the narrators off.
Yeah, like, because I'm like, how do you say that fucking name? Yeah. So, like, now that I have to say it out loud, I'm very frustrated. So I'm like, Anastasia.
And then you get an email back, and they're like, actually, it's Stasia.
Yeah, it's Stasia, or it's Stacy, and I just spelled it like this. Who knows?
And you have to throw away the
Stasia. Yeah, I throw shade, but I'm sure I'm also part of the problem when it comes
I was going to say, sorry, authors, but you do this to us.
Yeah,
you do it.
Exactly. Yep.
You give them weird names, and then you're like, and then they have a nickname. And you're like, well, how the hell do I say the nickname?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she goes through her life being weirdly not able to connect to other people. And she tells everyone she meets, hey, I'm an alien. Like, she's very transparent about it. But it's really cool because as you go through the story, the invasion gets kicked off and Anastasia knows she's an alien. And as shit starts getting real with like her people showing up, her human form starts changing. And so she presents more like her plant-based people.
Cool.
Which is super cool, right? So she basically starts being like, I'm green now. Like, she goes from being able to like pass as human to really not being able to. And what was cool about this is that her boyfriend's a trans man. And so her going through her transition into being an alien very much aligns to Graham, her partner, and like his transition and how that worked for them and how she always stuck with him despite the fact that it was such a big change for both of them.
Yeah.
And he does the same, right? Like, she literally turns green and is like, I'm a plant. And he's like, okay, like, just full ride or die throughout the entire thing. Like, Graham was my favorite character.
At some point in his psyche, he's like, well, I can't say anything now.
No shit, right? Like, at what point are you like, I'm an asshole if I walk away from it at this point?
Gender's one thing. Species, I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. It gets a little tricky.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because she has different friends who react very differently. She definitely has friends who are like, I don't fucking care that you're an alien. Other ones that are like, I super care you're an alien. Right. And I mean, in their defense, it's not a 1-for-1 with like gender identity because the aliens did show up to wreck shop. Like, they're not here for peace. They show up violent immediately. But some cool things that they do that I thought was a good parallel was, of course, her partner sticking with her. The found family themes are very strong in this because when her alien people show up, they're like, they address her properly. They address Graham properly, even though they're like, oh, your pet's cute. He could stay. But like the humans, like the FBI agents they run into are misgendering Graham on purpose, being real assholes about it. Aliens are super cool about it. So I was like, right. So it was really cool how they kind of lined that up. But one of the themes that I at first really liked was the fact that they had the parallels between Anastasia and Graham, like her being an alien and him being a trans man and how it all worked together. But then after I let it kind of digest, some points came to mind, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about today, was the alien being otherness happens a lot in like queer sci-fi, especially horror sci-fi. And I can kind of lean either way on it, either being liberating or running the risk of alienating, queer people from like the norm. So but I kind of wanted to get your perspective on it. Like, what do you think about that? Like, do you think it is like liberating to be like queer aliens, or do you think it could be more harm than good?
I mean, I don't think you get to pick. I think it's probably both and neither. It'll matter in degrees, and it'll matter too, like who the audience is. You know, we've had conversations recently on this podcast about like, you know, how some people are more upset by things happening in pop culture or how pop culture intersects with her life than others are, and that has to do with their background and their personal experience. And so I have no doubt that there are probably haters of this book out there
probably
that are like, how dare you compare the trans experience to turning into a plant alien? You know, nothing but a true representation from an own voice's author counts as authentic and good, and everything else is bad and awful.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So, you know, there's going to be that side of things, and then there are going to be a lot of people who are maybe not even understanding the parallels, but might be subconsciously affected by them in a way that could create more, if not acceptance, tolerance, which should never be our goal. Like we would love to have people more than tolerate us as queer people. But like, if we can get to tolerance, okay.
Right.
So I mean, and then of course it has to do with, how well is the book written? Because if it's not well written, if it's too heavy handed or it's poorly executed in some way, or there's a lot of like internal biases from the author that are making their way into the work, then that's not great either. So having not read this book, I can't speak directly to what this author has done, although it seems to have affected you in a way that has positive connotations. So that's great. What's really interesting is when I had not heard of this book, and so I had to go and do a little research, and the publisher, Macmillan, actually has their little, how they always like compare it to something else. Like, if you like this, you'll like that. The comparison for this book is Day of the Triffids meets Gretchen Faulkner Martin's Cuckoo. And I only know about Day of the Triffids as a movie because it's talked about in the opening number for Rocky Horror, which I just did last year.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, one of the actresses is referenced in from Day of the Triffids, and like that's the B horror movie reference for that movie. And I was one of the narrators for Gretchen Faulkner Martin's Cuckoo, which was a horror book that came out last year, maybe the year before, about queer kids sent to a summer camp. And in that case, it was more about the queer kids being the outcasts and being more disposable. So that they could be more easily acquired by the aliens than other people. So
wild. Okay.
Yeah. Because I was like, I don't do a lot of alien books. Mostly, and I think we've talked about this before too, like I just struggle a little bit more with the alien relationship romance dynamic. Like it
right.
I don't quite get there in the same way that I can with more like fantasy or sci-fi elements. But I did do this horror book about aliens trying to, eat little kids. So I have just the tiniest little bit of experience with it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think I remember you talking about it. I've never listened to it. I'm going to have to go back and check it out now that it's parallel with this book. And now I'm apparently on a horror book kick.
Hey, yeah. So, let me know if it's any good because I only had my portion. So.
Yeah, half of what happened.
I know like a fifth of what happened, maybe.
Oh, were you just like a little part of it?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, so you really
I just played one character, and I think there were like 6 or 7 of us.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to give that a shot then.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess there's no easy answer to whether or not these comparisons are good or helpful. It probably depends on who the reader is, who the writer is, and where they are in their life.
Yeah, fair. I will say, like, this book, it's pretty big. Like, it's chunky. And this author does wax poetic, I think, a little bit too much. Like, I think she could have trimmed down, made it a little bit more punchy. But I think that was my only real critique. Because there were a couple times where I'm like, why are we still talking about this? Yeah. But whatever. Let's see here. Do you think the metaphor is more powerful when queerness is coded through alien difference or when it's shown as normal in the background? Shorn. My God.
I'm interested in your take on this. Why are you asking that question?
I'm torn between that as well because I'm very much like I love a good metaphor and I love when you can weave those themes through a book well. Like I think if you can balance that and then you walk away from it like, oh shit, that's what that was. And I love that. It sits a little bit differently, but I also am a huge fan. I think both of us are about just queer being the default and it's normal and it's fine. Like if obviously these aliens were plant-based, they didn't give a shit. Like what these, carbon-based life forms were doing. Like they were like, oh, you have genitalia, that's cute. We're plants. Like they didn't give a shit. So for them, they were just so happy that their little seedling was home that they didn't really mind who she brought with her. And I think her mom was technically a giant lettuce spider. It was rad. So I think I could appreciate it if the metaphor is beautifully done, but I think it's tricky to balance, especially now that you can have queer normal fiction. Like you can, you can have that on tap at this point, which is great. But I also think it's important to like your previous point of being able to weave it in and almost, I don't want to say trick because that sounds nefarious, but trick somebody into maybe...
Yeah, trick these people. Yeah, they need to be tricked.
Into thinking a different way because they didn't realize that there were parallels between, you know, this person going through a transition and like, oh shit, that would be like how a trans person would be perceived or have at least a commonality through this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, it might not just be queer people who can see their stories told through these sorts of metaphors or this kind of fiction. I think there is probably an intentional line being drawn between the experience of the trans character and the alien character. And so in this case, it probably is the most apt metaphor for that sort of queerness. But like, I think of like X-Men, who for me growing up was very much a metaphor about the queer experience.
Right.
But I've heard people of color describe the X-Men as a metaphor for growing up not white. I've heard religious minorities discuss the X-Men as a metaphor for their experience growing up. And so sometimes just the otherness of a person in fiction can be related to in many different ways. And so it doesn't have to be just a metaphor for the trans experience. It can be for who knows how many other people who feel like they're on the outside, and the way that their bodies and minds and hearts are changing makes them more of an outcast. Or more interestingly, and this is where maybe again queerness is a more apt metaphor, it's the knowledge that she had of who she was the whole time. And she was honest with people and they just didn't understand. And they were able to segment that part of her and set it aside and still embrace her for who she was, which is a really interesting thing that can happen to queer people as they grow up.
Right.
You know, parents can kind of recognize that there's this element in their child, but they can just kind of like set it aside and like, we're just not going to think about that. So that's an interesting parallel too that's coming up as we're talking about it. Again, I have not read the book. I'm just going off of the descriptions I read and what you have told me. But I think that that's really interesting that like at 5, she was like, this is what I am. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell your grandma. You know?
Oh shit, that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because her grandparents very much didn't really like her up until they died. Like they just were like, Anastasia's weird. And they just never really attached themselves to her. And one of the things that happens a lot with her friends who didn't handle her alien reality well is they kept being like, well, I put up with it because it wasn't doing any harm. Like it was, it didn't matter that I just thought you were weird and it didn't matter. But now it matters because they showed up. So I think that's why I ended up walking away from this book being like, you know what? I did like it because it was, it mattered when the sky was literally on fire. They had to be like, hey, you've got to either stand with me or we can't be friends anymore because my people are here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah. So I think A+ on that book. Switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
I thought it'd be kind of fun if we talked about if we wrote this book, specifically about the aliens themselves. So the aliens in this one were plant-based, which was at first I wasn't super into it because I'm like, plants, whatever. Then like as more of the species showed up, they took these really kind of cool abstract forms. Like one of them was a big lettuce spider. So that one's not abstract. It's just a fucking spider.
Yeah.
But then this other one that was like her sister was basically the side of a mountain, kind of like she was a grove. So she didn't really have a face, but Anastasia was able to see patterns of like where a face could be based on how she was talking to her through like the whisper of the rustling of the leaves and stuff. I was like, that's kind of cool because you'd have to do something different because they can't talk with mouths because they're fucking plants, right? So if you were to make a species from this book, like if it wasn't plant-based, do you have like another either animal or material that you would base your life forms off of?
Well, one, I would not want to have to go to the trouble of figuring out how you interpret what the side of a hill is saying. So,
right? Yeah.
No, I'm too lazy for that. I would want whatever they are, they're going to be somewhat humanoid and able to speak either telepathically or a language that we can understand, because I do not want to have to take the time to figure out how these, how aliens speak. Although it can be super, super interesting. If you haven't read Project Hail Mary, go do so immediately before the movie comes out next year, but then also run and see the movie. Because that's a very interesting idea of how to communicate with aliens that I really appreciated.
Okay.
But I would take a page from the Animorphs books and I would make them dog aliens.
Yes.
And make them just like the most loving, understanding, compassionate. I would want to write a good aliens book where the aliens are here to help.
That would be nice.
Even though I'm sure humans would react poorly and there would be conflict no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be really interesting outside of that like YA sci-fi middle grade dynamic to explore like what would happen if these outsiders showed up, but they so resembled something from our Earth that we love.
Yeah, right. Like if it was a species of golden retrievers and they showed up and they're like, hey friends, we want to help you clean up everything. Do you think we would have the capacity as a species to be like, they're so cute and lovely, we're going to be nice? Or do you think we would just be not able to help ourselves and we'd be like, we'd have a pocket of people who just sucked?
I think we're always going to have a pocket of people who are just going to suck.
That's fair. I like the puppy idea for sure. I went definitely more scary with it and was thinking like deep sea kind of stuff, because we kind of already have weird monster alien craziness happening on our planet. If you go far enough down where the light can't touch, like evolution just went bananas and just made like a bunch of crazy stuff. So I would love to see a species that lives in like deep space coming to a place that has sunshine and like they're cool transparent jellyfish people or something that maybe are telepathic. But you know what, I want mine to also be nice. So maybe they show up looking terrifying with like teeth in the wrong place and like you can see through their bodies, but they're like, oh no dude, we're gonna help with ozone and like clean up your oceans and stuff. I think that'd be amazing.
How interesting too to have a species, because like they could come to Earth and hang out at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, right.
And like we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
How long could an alien species live down there before one of us would even be able to register that something I think somebody's down there? And the start of the book could be like a deep sea expedition, like somebody going to like look at a shipwreck or something, and then just out of the corner of the camera you see something move that you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then the camera goes out and boom, you've launched your story.
Love it. Somebody write this.
TM.
Yeah, or maybe it's us. We write this. It'll be fun.
Yeah. I don't mind if somebody else writes it. They just have to like give us
pay us like
pay us as like story by, created concept by.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah.
All right. So if you had a species of dog people, do you think that they would speak, or would it be telepathic, you think? Or would they just like have
I think it would have to be telepathic, because I don't want to see what a dog looks like if they also have a human mouth.
Ooh, yeah. That wouldn't be good. Or maybe you can do something like from Up with the collar.
Yes, I was just thinking the same thing. You know what? No, they can be barks and growls, but they have the technology to communicate what it is they're thinking and saying to us, and then vice versa.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think my jellyfish people will have to be either telepathic or similar. Maybe they just have a speaker that just floats.
Right.
Or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
If they came from a queer and normative world, what would that look like, and how would they be able to help the poor dumb humans?
I don't know that it would help.
You don't think so?
Because if you think about it, we are in a queer normative world.
Yeah.
Queer people have been around forever. And we just keep denying that they existed before this generation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, suddenly there's more queer people than ever before. It's like, no, not really.
Yeah, no.
We've been around.
Yeah.
We've, exactly. So certainly we've had to hide for many generations at a time, but like we have now looked back at the Egyptians and cavemen and Roman Empire, and we see like how normal queer activity was.
Yeah.
For all this time, and we're still making it seem like it's a big deal.
Right.
And just this week, they're trying to take marriage equality away from us again, and it's like, oh, okay, the pendulum's swinging the other way.
Yeah. God, I woke up to that news today.
But like we're here. We've always been here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that a bunch of aliens showing up and being like, oh yeah, we stopped caring about that a long time ago. That might be the best message, to just be like, yeah, we used to care about that too, and then we realized how silly it was. And also we can now create food out of nothing. So maybe we're better than you, and you should listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. We're puppy people, so get with it. Fucking,
we have no money, and we can replicate anything in the world that you want except for guns, because we outlawed those 1 billion years ago.
Mm-hmm. Y'all know those are dangerous, right? Why do you still have them?
Yeah.
Y'all are bad dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that was my deep dive into weird plant alien people and queerness and all that jazz. So awesome. Yeah, if you like alien spooky books, Overgrowth is good. I liked it a lot. So even though I just spoiled it for you, you should go. Well, I didn't spoil
I think there's
ending.
A lot there to dig into. So yeah, author Mira Grant. Overgrowth. Go check it out. Or if you want, you can go check out Gretchen Felkner Martin's Cuckoo.
Yes, I'm going to go check that out. I'll download the audio for it.
Yeah. Let me know how it is.
Indeed.
So thank you guys for listening to the penultimate episode of Hoof and Fang in its current form. We'll be back next week with our final episode for a little while. For a little bit. Until we emerge as our new selves. So don't miss that. We'll be back next week. Bye.
See you then.